for tuning in to Survivors with Voices with Alissa R. Jones. And I'm telling you, these segments are so amazing. But we are actually continuing the segment with our next guest, Nakeisha Howard. And I'm just so excited that she is joining me. She actually attended one of the Survivors with Voices meetings and been an active member with Survivors with Voices. And so just, you know, I know that you actually have shared your truth, but some of the things you have not shared. And so I want you to share with the viewers, you know, your personal, unapologetic truth.
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me.
Of course.
I have shared my truth, but I have not in a big form, you know.
Yeah.
But I think the more I share it, the stronger I am, and I know that I'm helping somebody else. So
Right.
I'm okay with it.
Right.
But my truth is from the time that I was maybe 7, I was molested by an uncle who used to come over. I don't even know why he was there,
Right,
or whatever, and would spend the night or whatever. And he would always be in my room, you know, for whatever, and supposedly sleeping on the floor.
Right.
And he would fondle me, and he would orally, you know,
Penetrate you.
No, he never penetrated me, but he would orally, you know, mess with me that kind of way,
Right.
or whatever. And then years later, my stepdad, which was his brother, when I was about 11, he began, and he kind of groomed me. I didn't know what it was at that time.
Right.
But I do remember him kind of, one time, like kind of making it as a game.
Yeah.
Just to see how far he could go. And, you know, did I hurt you? Did I hurt you?
Right.
And then it went from the touch to the screwing type thing.
Wow.
Oh, did I hurt you? Did I hurt you? No, you know, no. And then they went from there to actual penetration, and then it was years. And I felt like the time that I did tell him, you know, no, leave me alone, you know, and I did like go against it, he totally shut me out. And like he wouldn't talk to me. And at that time I felt like I was his favorite, you know, even before he began to molest me. I felt like I was his favorite and my brother and sister was my mom's favorite. So at this time I'm thinking, if he, you know, what am I supposed to do if he's not talking to me and he's not this? And he was very abusive in other ways. He had drug addictions, alcohol problems, and he was very abusive with my mom physically.
So let me ask you this. What point, where did you ever get to a point where you could tell your mother what was going on?
Well, after, for a while I felt like I was helpless because I'm like, if she can't help herself, how can she help me?
Wow.
So with all my family not being in Houston, because we moved here from up north, so we were here and nobody's here but us.
Yeah.
And so at that time, you know, you don't have cell phones, you can't text anybody, you can't put, you know,
Right.
My mom's like, you know, you don't talk on the phone unless she got permission, and being really young, you know, that wasn't the first thing I was thinking about.
Right.
And so after maybe, I think I was maybe 13 or so.
Wow.
It
So
was
how old did the abuse?
I was from maybe like 11 or 10 or 11 till probably about 13.
Wow.
And I think, and that was just because my mom got tired and she put him out. And so other than that, it would have probably continued because it had got to the point where I was like his little confidant. He shared a lot of things that I should have known about his adulterous affairs. You know, people he had babies and different things on my mom that he told me about.
And as a child, that weighs on you.
Yeah, and so I carried a lot. And as an adult, I carried a lot. I took on burdens that I didn't need to carry on. And I didn't realize until later that it took away my no. You know, my trust in my own decision was robbed from me because I felt like that was something I had to do. And I kept doing it. And then you don't know as a child that your body is just responding naturally to something
Right.
that your body's supposed to respond to,
Exactly.
even though it's out of order. So it became a normal abnormality for me.
Right.
And even at 11, 12, 13, no matter how uncomfortable it was when he came in the room at night, it was almost like that was my boyfriend, you know, kind of situation. So I had a double life kind of going on. I was trying to be a child. I was trying to do things that normal 11 and 12-year-olds do. But at the same time, my dad was tipping in my room at night.
Right.
And, you know, I could have got pregnant. As a lot of things could have happened. And I always wondered, like, why my mom, why doesn't she know? And why hasn't she said anything? But part of me was like, maybe because she's scared. She may know.
Right.
But if he's knocking her out or whatever, you know, then who am I, or what is she to do for me?
So as an adult, like as you are, how do you deal with what happened? You know what I mean? Like going from I'm an adult and I was sexually abused. How do you deal with that now? And how did that affect you growing up?
Well, growing up, I had made a decision even before I accepted Christ or got involved and connected with church and understood certain things as far as healing and forgiveness and what that process really entailed. I had made a decision about wasn't nobody going to do certain things to me, you know, as far as physical. But I was married and I did deal with mental abuse. He wasn't like verbally, you know, just the mistreatment, which I didn't equate that as abuse while I was in it. It took a while for me to recognize that I was still responding from the abuse.
From the abuse that happened.
And so I carried that for a while. I do know abuse begets more abuse. And so because my sister, she was physically abused by her husband, and my brother became an abuser. And so I see how it affected us individually. And when I got older and I got more connected with the things of God and I learned about forgiveness, I made a decision that I was going to let that go, and that I was going to forgive him. But one thing that it did not do, it did not take away memories. And so a lot of those things that I had forgot about, some things start popping back up. Memories would pop back up. And I was like, no, I forgave that. I let that go. And I was like, oh, dang, that happened too. Oh, wow. And so I would have to remind myself, I forgave that, you know, so that I could move on.
Right. So what I want you to do is talk to the viewers and talk to that adult that was sexually abused, that was molested as a child, and talk to them from your perspective and your experience and tell them how speaking out can help them get over that traumatic experience.
Okay. Well, speaking out for me, it really strengthens you. The more that you speak, the more that you're strengthening yourself and the more you're freeing yourself. One very powerful thing that I realized was like Maya Angelou was molested and she was quieted for years. And when she began to speak, look at what we have. We have a legend. And you don't know what you're robbing yourself of or others of in that you're not telling your story or you're being afraid to share your story. Never be afraid. Never be afraid because somebody needs it. And know that you're not alone. And don't feel like, oh, you have the worst situation or it's about being judged, because it's not. You're not a victim. You're a victor. And so you have to move forward in that mentality and know that I'm not just doing this for me, but I'm doing this to save somebody else's life and to free them as well.
And that's what Survivors with Voices is. We teach you to use your voice and be unapologetic about your truth. I can't tell you how thankful I am for you to share your testimony, because I know how hard that was for you. And me being myself, you already know my story is about being sexually abused, and just dealing with that and being at that point and being helpless. And I'm pretty sure yourself, you tried to commit suicide because you just didn't have that outlet. You didn't have the support of people. And that's what Survivors with Voices does. We are that support. And I recognized the need when I was that person, voiceless and not able to speak out. But now I got my voice back. Right. And we're helping millions of survivors to get their voice back. So I want you to tell the viewers, why should they attend a conference such as Voice Your Invisible Wounds Conference?
There is strength in numbers.
Amen.
And so when you get in the midst of other people who share your situation, share your story, or maybe even worse, it strengthens you and it frees you. It may seem cliche because the shirt says be seen, be heard, be free, but it is very true. The more you speak, the more freedom you will obtain, as well as freeing somebody else. So get there, get strengthened, join us. You never know what you're going to receive. You never know who you're going to meet. But get there.
Definitely. So definitely join us at Voice Your Invisible Wounds Conference. Nakeisha will be there. Myself will be there. I'm the founder of Survivors with Voices, and I want to see you there. I want you in the place so I can love on you and let you know that you're not alone. September 23rd and 24th. Join us in Houston, Texas.